reframing is number one. Number two, we need to get in bed with our customers. Okay, and I'm not talking about literally getting in bed with our customers, but I'm talking about finding empathy with the customer, using magic moments, finding out, asking questions, finding out what are they thinking about. You want to know when you go to a client's house, you want to know what are they thinking about? Who are they worried about? What do they fear? What do they hope for? What do they desire? Who do they desire to impress? What kind of fears are going on through their mind? Find out what they really want. We need to sell to the heart, guys. Some of us are walking in like robots, going straight to the problem, which is fine, go straight to the problem, but we're not taking time figuring out what our customer really wants, okay, by asking questions, and then we're assuming what they want, and then we're selling them whatever we think they need, instead of figuring out what they actually want. And I've used this story, and I'm going to use this story again, guys. One time I was in the field with really talented channel leader. You know, back then we didn't have channel leaders. Techs used to sell their own jobs, and this guy was good. His name was Gilbert. He called me up. I went to his job, right? He's like, hey, John, I want to see you in action. Come on out here. So it was in Mission Hills. I went out to his job. Client had a house sitting on about an acre of land, 2 acres maybe, I don't know. House sitting all the way in the back. Had a main sewer line backed up. Gilbert managed to sell this guy a clean out, and I was there to help sell a sewer line, right? My job is to sell a sewer line. So I go out there. I kid you not, I gave him not 6 bullets, but I had a machine gun. You know, I unloaded as many objections as the lady asked. I came back, I recovered, I kept asking for the sale, and asking for the sale. I could not sell this lady a sewer line at all. I just could not do it. I mean, and the line was totally thrashed. You guys have come across this, where the line is completely upside down damaged so badly that it's unbelievable. I go to Gilbert, I'm like, Gilbert, man, I'm exhausted, dude. I've tried everything. I just couldn't get it. I said, good luck, man. Put it together. Let me know how it works, all right? He's like, all right. So I ended up leaving, and then about an hour later, I get a call from Gilbert. And John, he goes, I sold this lady. I go, what? He goes, yeah, I sold this lady, you know, but I don't remember how much it was, you know, back then. Maybe 8, 10, 12,000, 15. I don't remember exactly the dollar amount, but I was completely baffled. I told him, there is no possible way that you sold this lady a sewer line, because there is no way she was going to buy. I tried everything, and I'm not that bad, man. I know what I'm doing. He's like, no. I went inside and I started talking to her and asking her questions. And one of the questions I asked, I said, hey, if you were able to, you know, magically transform some part of the plumbing in your house, what would it be? And the lady said, I really hate ink tiles in my shower. And he said, really? He said, yes, I hate them. It's the worst thing. I see it every single day, and I despise it. So the dude went out and sold her a bathtub and a retiling in the shower. I'm like, damn, dude, you are a genius. I tried to sell this lady a sewer line, and I couldn't do it. And this dude left her with a sewer line that's about to back up in a week probably, and replace the tub and put new shower in, and sold her all of this stuff. So that's when I realized that I'm going about this all wrong. Instead of asking questions, I'm assuming what the customer wants, and I'm jumping into it. So guys, we have to slow down and find out exactly what the client wants. I'm working extremely hard on bringing you guys as many products as possible to put resources together to be able to have you guys offer whatever you can offer. So you don't have to sell. You can start asking. You can start feeling desires and needs. Okay, let me tell you a story about this guy named Fred. His nickname was First Date Fred, because he always got first dates. This guy, Fred, is a good-looking guy. I mean, he's tall, he's a doctor, he's a good-looking guy, but he would always have a date, and he would always manage to land a date, but he would never manage to land a second date with anybody, right? Nobody. So he was nicknamed First Date Fred, and one of his friends once ran into a girl that actually went out on a date with Fred, and they're trying to figure out this mystery about why does Fred, this good-looking doctor, making a good living, and the guy, you look at him from the outside, every girl wants him, so he's able to land dates because he asks them on a date and everybody says yes. And why can't this guy get a second date? So this guy starts talking to this girl that went out on a date with Fred and says, hey, I want to know, why did you not go out on a second date with Fred? And she, proceeded to say, in the beginning it was great. He opened the door, we went to a nice restaurant, and we started talking, and we started talking. Fred continued to tell me all of his desires. His desire desires to start a family, how many kids he wanted, the neighborhood he wanted them to grow up in, and all of this. And he just kept talking to him about everything he wanted. And he just talked and talked and talked and talked and talked and just painted this beautiful picture of what he wanted his future to look like. And then at the end of all of this, he said that you look like the perfect girl, that can help, me start a family. And I was completely turned off because he never even stopped to ask me a single question about what my desires are, and just kept talking about his desires and just kept going off, okay, and kept going off and kept going off. Fred did not realize what he was doing, okay? He didn't find out what these girls' perceived needs are. So once Fred's friend found out what the actual problem was, and him being a sales guy, he was able to coach him. He brought Fred in and said, Fred, this is the problem, man. You got to start asking more questions. Stop talking about yourself, okay? People don't care what you want. They care what they want. And once Fred realized this, Fred was able to land a second date, and eventually Fred was able to get married and continue his life the way he wanted it, okay? Because he figured out the problem. The problem was he was not asking questions. He wasn't figuring out what the customers or his date's perceived needs were at the time, and he wasn't feeling their perceived needs. All he was doing was talking about himself. And he would have remained single for the rest of his life. He kept going this way. Real sales is finding out the perceived need and filling it. You create the need by asking questions. And learning more about the client. I know a lot of you know this, guys. I want to talk about another story. There's this guy named John Lennon. John Lennon, he's a real estate agent out of South Beach, Miami. And really, his name is John Lennon, not one of the Beatles. And this is a real guy. Past 19 years, John has sold over $3.7 billion in real estate. Okay, if you do the math, right, on $3.7 billion in real estate, and you average it out on the 3% commission, he's almost done as good as the real John Lennon from the Beatles. This guy was making $5 million a year selling real estate in South Beach, Miami. And what's most baffling is that he was selling all of this real estate on a single street called South Point Drive. And it was only 6 high-rise buildings that he was selling in. Talk about, being boxed in geographically in this small area. He's only selling in 6 buildings on one street, $3.7 billion in 19 years. So, okay, you're thinking probably, all right, this guy's selling high-end real estate. He's got this market, is all cornered, he's on his own there. But that's not the facts. There's hundreds of real estate agents that are selling in the same street, in the same buildings, in the same geographical area as John Lennon. But they're not selling $3.7 billion in 19 years. What's John Lennon's secret? Why is he outselling, many times over on the other realtors? John was once interviewed. He was asked the question, how did he do it? John said, when I started, I was sharing an office with 4 other agents. We took turns handling incoming foot traffic and calls. So they were getting calls from people that were interested in real estate, and they were handling the incoming traffic. Similar to our office, right? We're getting incoming calls into the call center. Sometimes we got 3-4 channels in one office, and you guys are sharing the leads, right? You're going out on leads. And so John continues to talk. Each of the other 4 guys were closing, he said, 1 deal every 3 to 4 months. So there's 4 agents in this office that he's sharing, and these 3 to 4 agents were selling about 1 deal every 4 months. And he was asked, how many were you selling? And he said, I was selling 31 a month. 31 a month. Can you guys imagine how good this guy is? He's selling 31 high-end luxury apartments, 6 buildings, when he has 4 other people sharing an office, and they're selling 1 every 3 to 4 months. And there's hundreds of other agents that are representing these buildings as well, by the way. It's not only this one office, but there's hundreds of agents. So he was asked, how do you do it? What is the difference? You got the same lead, same territory, same apartments, but your results are completely different. You're selling 1 a day. And he said the difference is this. I don't sell what they sell. What? I mean, it's crazy. You're selling real estate. He's like, no, I don't sell the same stuff they sell. So John continued to explain, it's right. We're all selling apartments, but I'm selling differently. And the next statement out of his mouth was baffling. This is what he said. Everyone else is selling apartments, but I'm not selling apartments. The developer once called him and said, hey, have you sold something today? today? He said, yeah, I sold 3 apartments today. And he goes, 3 apartments? He goes, what did you sell? So I sold a $4 million parking space. I sold a $2.8 million gym and spa. I sold a $6 million closet. And he goes, hold on a minute. What do you mean? He goes, yeah, I sold each customer what they exactly wanted, and each one of those parking spaces, gym passes, or closets all came with a full apartment. So the developer said, what do you mean? How are you doing this? And he said, all I do is I spend about an hour figuring out what my customers, my clients' needs are. I ask them questions. I find out what they're looking for, and then I go out to sell them. I show them exactly what they want, and I don't have to show them multiple spaces because I know what they're looking for, and I look at my inventory, I find it, I go show them, and he goes, they just take it. For example, the guy that bought the $4 million parking space, he called me up. This guy has vintage cars. In the place he lived before, he had a bad experience. Somebody got into the garage and they actually scratched his vintage cars, and he was pissed off. He was moving out of the building because he hated having his cars get ruined. What I did is I showed him, and I spent an entire 2-3 hours showing him the parking space, the security, the safety, the cleanliness of our underground parking, where he would park his cars, and how security is monitoring it, how we got cameras everywhere, and all of this stuff. And he goes, we didn't even make it up to the apartment, and the guy was writing me a check. He didn't even look at the apartment. He got out of the parking garage, went straight into the office, was ready to write this guy a $4 million check because he knew exactly what he wanted. Okay, the secret to John Lennon's success and the secret to your success is becoming the ultimate connector. Finding out what the clients want, okay, finding out what their hot buttons are, and then feeling the need of their hot button and not becoming first date Fred. Guys, this is not hard to do. We need to spend time with clients, figure out what their needs are. And if you want to make more money, okay, one single art that you can learn and get books and learn on and figure out is how to ask better questions. If you can figure out how to ask better questions and figure out what your customers' hot buttons are, what their triggers are, what their fears are, okay, who they want to impress, their family members, who found the problem, okay, how do they feel about that problem, and then make solutions, put options together that solve all of their issues, creating the perceived needs, we are going to sell more. We're going to sell more. This is just the way it works. Don't be a first date Fred. We need to pull clients. We need to pull clients, not push them away. We need to investigate, not present. We need to probe, not pitch. We need to ask, not assume. We need to educate, not scare. Okay? We need to talk less, and we need to ask more questions. This is the way we're going to make more sales. Number one, you get out to the jobs. You stop hiding, okay, because some of us, the problem is as simple as perceiving to be more busy than we are. And get out to the leads. Start filling out your forms. All of you guys on this phone call have leads. At minimum, you have 100 leads. At minimum. That's the minimum leads that your texts are taking. If you have 5 or 6 texts, I will guarantee you have a minimum of 100 leads. First of all, find out how many of those 100 leads. Some of you have 150, some of you have more than that. But let's say you have 100. Let's take the worst case scenario, the 100 leads. How many of those leads are you showing up to, first of all? If you start figuring out that I'm showing up to 80% of it, 60%, 50%, because right now you don't even know. I'll guarantee you some of the guys on this call don't even have an idea because you're not doing what Corey's doing and you're not filling out your sheet and figuring out how many calls your texts have been out to and how many you made it to. You're not doing that. First, fix that. Once you fix that, okay, number 2, don't be a first date Fred. Figure out how to ask the questions. Don't do the mistake I did. Go straight to the sewer line and try to sell them the sewer line. Yeah, educate them on the sewer line and ask questions while you're educating. and figure out what the client's perceived needs are. Gilbert did a great job selling that job after I left. He woke me up that day to going, what the heck am I really doing running to the problem and just selling? They don't care less about their sewer line. It could back up over and over again, and this lady didn't really care. Maybe after the second and third time, maybe they would. The water dropped. They're like, I don't care. I don't want to do anything. But they were able to did buy a shower, right? So, I'm going to take a break on talking. I'm going to unmute the phone, guys, and I'm going to go into Q&As because, I want you guys to start participating. And if you're really not going out to the job, you don't have to admit it on this call, but just admit it to yourself. Stop acting busy and start showing up, and then learn how to ask good questions. All right, so is there any questions, comments, anything about what we talked about, any of the stories I shared that are interesting that anybody wants to comment on? This is the reason why I know that we need to start learning how to ask better questions, because I'm sure some of you got some great nuggets, stories that I just shared. However, when I'm unmuting the phone asking you, hey, do you have any other questions or any comments about that? Nobody's saying anything. Don't worry, guys. No one's going to... Yeah, go ahead. Who was it?
Hey, this is JB. Can you hear me?
Yeah, JB, go ahead.
Hey, John. So two questions. Number one, how much did he sell the bathroom shower for? And number two, did that woman ever get her sewer line repaired by anybody?
Good question. Thank you, JB. I don't remember because this was roughly 25 years ago that this happened. I don't remember what the exact amount was, but it was more than we were selling the sewer line for. So he actually got more money. So it really had nothing to do with how much money the lady had, because she wrote a bigger check. That's all I remember. But no, she did not take care of the sewer line. We had dropped the water. We ran a camera. We ended up connecting and backfilling the sewer line. And I do not remember if she ever called us back and we went back out for the sewer line. But I'm pretty sure it eventually got replaced because it was in pretty bad shape.
All right, great. Thank you.
So does anybody have an example of what we just talked about? Going out to a job, trying to sell something, or selling something completely different than what the original problem was because you were able to connect with the customer in a positive way. I want you guys to collect stories, okay? I want a story of a job that we sold yesterday. Does anybody have a job? If you don't speak up, I'm going to call up on you. So go ahead. All right, I'll call Juan. Juan, have you sold anything yesterday? Do you have a story about a job sale you made yesterday?
I have a great story. Last week, I sold a little under $200,000. We got it all done and collected. Just kind of hearing everything about this, guys, and hearing it, just chiming in. But I mean, the biggest thing I can get out of all of this information is that this guy invests his time in his client. It takes the time and sees exactly what they're looking for because, that's what it takes. A lot of work, takes a lot of extra effort to really show up, go out there, get the options, and really take the time to really show the clients that you care, and don't be a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? That's what I always say because, I'll say it over and over. Clients know when you're fake, So, if you're really going out there to just, another one bites the dust, like you said, you'll be at the bottom, and it'll never fail. So, got a lot of nuggets out that story, and it always comes back to the same thing: is you have to take the time to invest with the clients, and show them that you really care. Show them that you care, and one of the biggest things for me is going back to the job, checking on how everything's doing. And sometimes the client's faced with jobs like, oh my gosh, it's going to be more money, because they already got this in their head when they see us. Oh my God. But when you actually just show up, take a look at the job, see how everything's going, and then sometimes there's a lot of these clients we don't even do anything. They'll come out and just tell us, hey, you know what? We've been thinking, and I think it makes a lot of sense to just do it all. So a lot of times it's just really taking the time to invest and go back, right? Like you said, stop pretending to be busy and really go to work. Get out there and make it happen, because there's a lot of opportunities out there, and they're used by a lot of people because it's an hour drive or you got to go back, and, you want to be home by 4 and it's 1 o'clock, so you're not going anywhere. And, a lot of times it's just taking that time and just investing, right? Investing with the client, investing with the team, and I agree with a lot of these guys on the phone. It's a lot of work, guys, right? But I'm finding that it's a lot more harder to, how can I say it, like, to not do it, right? It's like, it takes a lot more energy to be negative, and it's so easy to just show up, give the options, and just do what we need to do. So for me, biggest thing I got out of this stories that I heard is just this guy is taking the time to invest with the client, seeing exactly what they really want, and that's how he's making it happen. So for me, that's what I got out of it. And same thing with our guys is really just taking the time to invest with the clients and showing them that we really care and not being fake and doing what we say we're going to do. Because the minute we start straying away from what we said we were going to do and we start doing something that we're late or we didn't change a piece of pipe that we said we're going to do, now we're the liars, right? So, I mean, one of the biggest things for me is take the time to invest with the client. Show them that you really care. Do what you say you're going to do. I mean, being all time, all these little things, right? They're like hinges, right, on a door. And they open big doors. All these little things kind of open the door. It's a real big door, but if you look at what really opens it, it's a small thing. I mean, so for me, just continue to do all the little small things, and they're just continuing to open big doors.
Yeah, thanks, Vaughn. I appreciate it. I know you do work hard, and what I got from that was you sold $200,000 last week, and you spent a lot of time with your clients. And the difference is, guys, if you're spending time with customers and you're getting in front of them, you're going to sell. Okay, the first thing is showing up, and number two is asking good questions. And then you don't have enough time to figure out, what the client is thinking, what their fears are, who they want to impress, and all of that stuff unless you spend time with them. A magic moment cannot be done in 10 minutes. You can't tell a client what inspires what they do, something about them that inspires you, unless you have enough time with the client. Because 90% of the sale is to the heart, guys. It's to the heart. We're in residential home sales, right? Residential home sales is a heart, is selling to the heart, not selling to the head. B2B is, I would say, 50% head and heart. But residential is 80% heart. And how can you sell 80% to the heart if your heart is not in it, first of all, and if you don't know what that person desires? That's why First State Fred was failing, because he was not selling to the heart. He couldn't sell to the heart because he wasn't asking any questions. And the difference between John Lennon, and this guy's a real guy, by the way, John Lennon, selling $3.8 billion in 19 years, where his predecessors, the rest of the realtors are selling maybe 3 properties a year. He's selling over 300 a year. Think about that, guys. 3 to 300. Number one, John Lennon's got to be working a lot more, doing a lot of his homework. He's probably researching a lot about that client before they come in. When they have an appointment, he probably looks them up and figures out who they are and this and that, and then starts asking questions after questions, figuring out, connecting, doing all of this. And then what is he doing at the end? Taking him to the exact thing that he wants to buy, and it's a no-brainer. I got a buddy of mine, and this guy has bought a house in Newport Beach, and he's in the wheel business, and he does really well. He sold a lot of wheels, and he was telling me about when he bought his house. It was the same exact thing. I think there's a John Lennon that lives on the West Coast as well, because he told me he was looking for a house in Newport, and he knew exactly what he wanted, and this guy's into cars, so he goes and sees this realtor, and the guy knows who he is because he looks him up. They start talking about cars. Ask him how many cars he has, how many cars he's going to store in his garage, boom, boom, boom. He's already done his research because he knows the car guy, and he takes him to a house. And the house is exactly what the guy wanted. He has an underground garage. He has a subterranean garage that just goes straight down. He's got room for 10 cars underneath that. He has a 10-car garage, under his house. In there, he has a theater. He can go in his man cave, which is underground garage, and he could spend the entire day there, all right? And the guy would love. Because this guy's into wheels. That's his business, right? He's into wheels, all the cars, all of this stuff. He went to this house. First house he looked at, he wrote an offer, bought the house. The realtor didn't have to show him anything else because he knew exactly what he wanted. So if we do that, we train the technicians. That's why I'm asking you guys to send your guys to TNT, because we teach them how to start the probing process before you get there, to ask these certain questions to get the client. I'm going to send all the technicians tomorrow the 5 Keys book after our meeting, and every one of them, I'm going to ask them to listen to the book. Not only listen to it, Ron took a lot of time to write this book, right? Not only listen to it, but study it before the book comes out. I want you guys to start by listening to it, studying it, understanding what customers want. Start working, ask the questions, turn the 5 keys. When you get there as a channel, you got to continue that. You got to collect that data that your technician drops on your lap. And then you got to continue asking questions and getting that. And then putting together the options for the customer that's going to fulfill their exact need. So you can sell like John Lennon. So you could sell like John. Everybody on this phone sell like John Lennon. Outsell. The average person in his industry is making $65,000 to $80,000 a year. As a realtor selling these high-end properties, this guy is making $5 million a year selling the same thing that they're selling on a single street in 6 buildings. Why? Why can't you become John Lennon and sell like John Lennon? You can't if you're First Aid Fred. You can't be John Lennon if you're First Aid Fred. So we all need to learn and become that. And we need to stick to our game, guys. It takes 10,000 hours to become a pro at what you do. 10,000 hours. Imagine that, all right? To become the top of your game, it takes 10,000 hours. And you could still tweak and become better. And some of us, okay, by the time we're getting there, we're changing what we're doing. We're changing, we're either having to start from scratch or looking for another company or doing this or doing that. Okay, we're getting out and trying to figure out another game before that happens. Guys, I'm telling you that you can sell like John Lennon. It's not hard to do. You have to take the time. We got to work the calls. Start by that single task, what Corey just talked about this morning. Track how many jobs you're going to every single day. Track the incoming lead, guys, because we're getting leads. Our company's getting thousands of leads, and we're not turning the 5 keys on every lead, and we're not asking the questions, and we need to first figure that out. Once we do that, then we'll get to a very comfortable, stable amount of income. Then we could start tweaking our game a little bit. Get rid of those daily nasty habits that are taking up your time, okay, that are getting you out from selling. Maybe it's pulling a permit or doing like mundane stuff. You got your ops leaders doing that. You got we got a permit department that can, we put the resources together for you guys not to be standing in line getting permits, okay? Make sure those resources are being used. I'm going to break again, ask you guys if you have any other questions. I want to be your hero. I want to inspire you guys to become better, sell more, and to just get better, okay? Just to do more, sell more. I'm working hard on trying to get you guys leads. I want you guys to maximize on all the leads that you're getting, okay? Help your technicians make money, because if they make money, they will not leave. Some of the techs that are leaving, they're just not making money, guys. Not helping them make money. You got to help them make money. And if you do, then they're going to stay and they're going to be there for a long time. How can I be a hero to you? This is the final question I want to ask. What can I do to help you guys become better besides what is already happening? Don't want to talk in front of others, then feel free to send me a private text message. And guys,
yeah, I just want to say something. I don't want to cut you off, John, but I know the biggest thing that I can just, without even, meeting everybody in person, and just from the questions that you ask, I could tell a lot of people are really scared to get out of their comfort zone. And you really have to get out of that to go to another level and for you to continue to grow. For me, I used to be afraid to ask for the sell. I used to be afraid to go back and ask for money. I had this fear of that I would lose the job. I had a fear of talking in front of people. I had a fear of a whole bunch of things. But once you really get past that and can push through that, guys, you can start to see your life changing, your income changing. And my buddy taught me this at the gym, and he says, Juan, there's only one thing that I know that can measure if I'm becoming a greater person. I said, what's that? He said, if my income is continually growing daily, monthly, and yearly. He said, money is nothing more than a tool for me to measure the person that I'm becoming. Now, if you start to notice your income not growing, it's typically because you're not growing as an individual, as a person. And I like what he said. If you're not living to your full potential, you're not good to anybody. And I thought that was pretty heavy. And he kind of hit me like a ton of bricks with all of that. And And I just want to share that with you guys. Don't be afraid to comment, or don't be afraid to say what you're thinking. Don't be afraid if you're going to hurt somebody's feelings, or if you're going to get embarrassed, or you might say the wrong thing. You have to push past that, because I know for me, it's really helped me to take my game to another level, to get out my comfort zone. And I was so scared of asking my fiance, who we're going to get married in September, to just be my wife. And I had to even get past that to say, I'm going to marry this girl, right? To just even ask, if she would marry me. There's a whole bunch of things that I wouldn't have done if I just kept my mouth shut. I can just sit here and think, like, where would I be today if I would not say what I was thinking, if I would let that fear get stuck in my head. So, one of the biggest things, guys, when people are asking questions, don't be afraid to make a comment. And they don't like, what you said, it's okay. There's no problem, it's not a big deal, so don't be afraid when somebody asks us a question to make a comment, or for anything for that matter. So, I hope that helps somebody. Even for me to speak up and say that, it takes a lot of guts and courage, guys. It sounds easy because you hear me saying it, but it wasn't always that easy for me. It was real easy to just stay quiet and then after, I was like talking all of these things, and with everybody else, I had all this confidence, but you get me in a room with, 20 people, and I was just like this big scared guy. So, don't be afraid, guys, to ask questions or to answer back when people ask these questions. Don't be afraid, because you have to get out of your comfort zone if you want to grow and do something better for you and to help the people around you. Because what I got out of what my buddy says is in order for you to help everybody around you, number one, you got to get better yourself so you can better the people around you. Maybe not all of us on this phone can change the world, but I'm sure we could change the 3 feet around us. So, I just wanted to add that in and just encourage you guys to just speak up.
Another nugget I got from you, Juan, is that the people you're hanging out with right now are probably much different than the people that you were hanging out with before, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And Sal knows, right? We grew up together. We didn't grow up in the best neighborhood. I met this guy in an alley on a corner playing dice and being knuckleheads and doing a whole bunch of nonsense. But you know what? We grew up. We learned and we grew. And one thing I can say is that I can honestly say I've helped a lot of people grow and to become better. And it's just because the people who we're hanging around with now and the books we're reading, the information we're receiving, and not only that, using it, right? Using it, not just keeping it and just gonna die with it. No, I'm gonna share the information, and that's one thing that I want to do. I want to help everybody around me. So, my buddies at the gym, these guys are millionaires. These guys, I just ask them questions, and sometimes I feel like I'm bothering them. And if you ask people, they'll tell you, but don't be an asshole, right? Don't keep asking the same thing over and over. Come up with something new. And one thing that he told me, Juan, if you're going to ask me a question, ask me something that you can't Google. I just wanted to share that with you guys and encourage you guys to just get out of your comfort zone. It's okay. There's nothing's going to happen. You're not going to die if you speak up, right? Nothing's going to happen. So I really want to, encourage, inspire, and encourage you guys there's a lot of opportunity here, guys. I made $500,000 last year. I'm looking to make $1 million a year, right? Some people laugh at me when I say that. Good luck with that. Let me know how that turns out. Well, it's been actually increasing and getting better over the years because I'm continuing learning, continuing growing, and just really want to, encourage you guys to just get out of your comfort zone, right? Don't be afraid to try something new.
Thanks, Juan. I appreciate you participating. And this is coming from a guy that sells $6 million a year. It works. I know Juan works on himself every single day. I know he motivates himself. He's self-motivated. I know he does that. And I know he shows up too. I've been out in the field with him in the same territory running, and he's very competitive. He loves to get out there, and he will stay out as long as he has to hit his goal. But I want to give you guys just one more quick story. I've got people in my life that I'm an arm's length away from, because they haven't changed who they've become. When we grew up, these guys are doing the same thing today at 46 that they were doing at 20, right? They're doing the same exact, nothing has changed. They're smoking weed, okay? They're doing all kinds of crazy drugs. So I got a call from a friend of mine that I haven't seen for a while. And I should have not taken this freaking call. I swear to God, I shouldn't have taken it, but I felt bad I took the call. And he says, hey, what's going on, this or that? Or he actually texts, hanging around, I'm at home, just preparing for the next day, iron my shirts, this and that. He goes, hey, I want to stop by. And this is like about 7:30. I'm like, oh, dude, I probably shouldn't tell him to stop by, but my heart didn't, I'm a yes guy. I'm sorry to say, I don't like disappointing people. So I'm like, all right, come by. We'll hang out for a half hour. And he goes, all right, I'll be there in about a half hour. I'm going to take an Uber. And then I thought about it. I'm like, why is this guy taking an Uber? It was too late. I already invited him over. I'm like, this guy's got to be drinking or something. I mean, he can't drive. At least he stopped driving and drinking, right? There's one thing he changed. So he ended up coming by. Yep, he was drinking, and he had his vape with him, smoking the oil and all of this stuff. And, I do my thing with my kids at night. I read to them and I do all of this stuff. I go to bed at 9:30. Well, long story short, I did not read to my kids that night because I ended up hanging out with this guy till 9:30. Finally, his phone died. I called him an Uber, sent him on his way, made a promise that I would just, if he ever asked to come over, then I'm not going to take it. I haven't seen him for a long time. So kind of felt bad. He had problems and this and that, and he shared his problems, and I stopped giving him advice because I know he doesn't take it anymore. So no use, and I just empathized with him. Woke up extremely early, listened to a lot of good motivational stuff, shook all of that negative energy, and then I continued my my day. But what I'm saying is it screwed up my night, guys. From about 8:30 to 9:30 for an hour, I could have been reading with my kids. I could have been doing all kinds of stuff. Guy came by, drank 3 beers, smoked a little bit of his vape pen outside. My hoping my family wouldn't have smelled it or done anything. I told the guy, dude, you got to stop doing this. At least don't do it over here, and he finally called him an Uber, left, and I made a promise that I would never, ever, I'll take his call and I'll talk to him or whatever, but I'm never going to invite him over. If you want to stop by, I'm just going to tell him, sorry, man, I'm busy or I'm going to bed or something. But there's people like that in your life that is holding you back like it's holding me back. Trust me, guys, that day I ended up spending time with 10 other people that lifted me up the next day. A lot of my friends that are doing much better and all kinds of stuff, right? So that wasn't the only thing. So I'm going to end this really quick. Hold on. So what am I getting to? Well, I got nuggets from what Juan was just saying. He's at the gym with guys that are millionaires. He's hanging around guys that are there where he wants to get to. Already, thinking about making $1 million a year. He's already planted the seed, guys, and he has the work ethic to put behind it. His skills are sharpening. He's listening. He's taking notes. He's studying, making his text better. He's doing all of the things that he has to do. He's taking the steps to get there, right? I'll guarantee you that Juan is filling out a form of his own, just like Corey is doing. He knows exactly where he is at the time of the month he's at, knows what he needs to do to get to his goal at the end of the day. Sold $200,000 last week. 5 technicians behind him. 5 guys. Only 5 technicians, all right? You guys understand he sold $200,000 with 5 guys. There's guys making money. Jobs got closed. They got done. You could be doing that. Everybody on this phone could be doing it. What do you have to do? Start with the little habit. Push out the negative people in your life. Go to bed early. Wake up. Have your routine. Work hard. Right now, if you're not out of the house right now, shirt ironed, ready to go. Iron your shirt. Get ready. Get out there and start going to calls, okay? Start showing up to jobs. Start writing down all the jobs you're going out to. Start doing those little things that are going to make the big difference. All right, guys, I'll talk to you again next week. I'm going to be on the phone with your text tomorrow because I want them to do the things that they need to do to help you guys out. I'm giving you this hard advice. I'm telling you guys all of this stuff because I care. I want you to get better. I know you can get better, and I'm going to help you get better, okay? If you guys are taking some of my talk as criticism, it's okay. I'm doing it because I know you guys could do more. So let's go ahead and have a great day, all right? I'll be out in the field selling, guys, tomorrow, so wish me luck. I'm going to cover for a couple of the channels here in the local area that are going to a meeting. So I'll be out in the field, and I'm going to be running cameras and doing exactly what you guys are doing, and I'll guarantee you I'm going to make some sales, all right? Have a great day, guys. Thanks.